just gotta say, Matt Walsh has been really fucking weird and sussy lately. Like, extraordinarily weird and sussy. Like, reaching levels of the FBI should go to his home and look at what's on his hard drive levels of sussy. Here's just a 40-second long clip that you really aren't prepared for.
Alleging that they were victimized decades prior.
Oh, sorry.
It's alleging that they were victimized decades prior. It's just obviously total madness.
He's by the way, he's talking about victims of child sex abuse.
There's not an exact science here of what the statute of limitations should be, but I think any thinking person, any rational person would agree that 50 years is just way too long. Maybe like 5 years into adulthood. I think that might make sense. Just, or, something between 5 and 50. Alleging.
Bro is literally saying that if you're a victim of child sex abuse, you should have only 5 years between becoming an adult and you should only have 5 years to be able to report your child sex abuse to the police. Like, yeah, exactly. What did Matt Walsh do 6 years ago? Like what? I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable with substantiated charges being brought against someone who allegedly sexually abused children 50 years ago. I'm actually pretty okay with that. If you have the evidence to be able to substantiate those charges, I am more than okay with that, actually. The fact that Matt Walsh, it's so weird. A lot of these, like, protect kids, we need to save them from the harms of puberty blockers, will then immediately just turn around and be like, well, actually, victims, child victims who've been raped, really, they should have justice, they should report it to the police within 5 years. Otherwise, their rapist gets a free pass. And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? What the fuck? No. If you are able to accrue evidence to press charges against a rapist or a child rapist, I don't care how long the statute of limitations is. If you got the evidence to back it up, by all means, you should be able to present that and press charges in court. But of course, he's also not done. This is from Ari Drennan at Media Matters. This is unrelated to child sex abuse, but it is related to something that Matt Walsh doesn't talk about a whole lot, which is his predilection for white supremacy. We showed a video not too long ago on the YouTube channel about Matt Walsh and his history of overseeing neo-Nazi diaper wrestling. In the video where he is refereeing two grown adult men in clothed only in diapers wrestling each other, it can actually be seen that one of them has a swastika tattooed on his back. So, he's got a little bit of experience with white supremacy, to say the least. And well, let's just hear one of his latest takes, because that was a while ago. Maybe he's changed, but I doubt it.
We know that the continued existence of any other race of people is considered deeply important, and the preservation of the historical and traditional racial identity of any nation is considered deeply important.
Right off the bat, that should send off some alarm bells. The preservation of race and racial identities is important. I would argue that that's not really that important. Your skin color is not that important. What is important are like your ethnic traditions. Your like it's not important that you're white. It's important that you're Irish or you have Irish heritage or Swedish heritage or like, Albanian heritage or whatever, like that's the important thing, not the fact that your skin color is a certain way. Fuck whatever your skin color is. That doesn't matter. Preserving your skin color is not important. Preserving cultural traditions, that can be important. Okay? But let's let him speak.
So, for example, if there was an influx of white immigration to a historically black country, and that was resulting in a giant demographic shift wherein it was becoming a predominantly white country rather than predominantly black, this would
Wait, what?
be considered a major, major problem.
What? Is Matt Walsh unfamiliar with colonialism?
And there's no doubt about it.
Is he unaware that that has happened many, many times? Is he unaware that that happened to America?
And yet, in the reverse, it is either neutral or cause for celebration. But really, it should be a cause for celebration. And
it's funny because Matt Walsh would absolutely argue that colonialism was based in good. I'm pretty sure he has. But I love that he's being like, oh no, it's oh no, it's a problem because it fits my narrative right now.
You know what? This pertains even to the animal kingdom. I mean, you could think about it, there's a particular type of, I don't know, hummingbird that's going extinct. Even for that, we're supposed to panic. And if I were to say, hey, whatever, I mean, what does it matter? So we don't have that type of hummingbird. We got plenty of other hummingbirds. What does it matter what type of hummingbird it is? The difference does it make. So you got this type of hummingbird is there's more of that and there's less of this. Like, who cares? If I say that, I'm callous. Because no, it's very important that we have all varieties of hummingbirds. Every variety is very, very important. We have to keep them all around. Every animal in the animal kingdom, we got to keep them all around. It's extremely important. If any particular varieties.
It's really interesting because he's talking about varieties of hummingbirds. But I don't know who needs to know this, but when you're talking about varieties of hummingbirds, those are different species of hummingbirds. If you don't know this, this is very important, but people with different skin colors than you, human beings with different skin colors than you, are still the same species as you. White people and black people and brown people, and people of all different colors and shapes are all the same species. It's not like we're different things. And I do need to really emphasize that portraying this and making the argument that, oh yeah, we're different species is deeply, deeply racist. It's basically the foundational premise of things like phrenology. Their skull shapes are shaped different. That's why they're a subspecies.
It starts to dwindle. If any particular type of species of animal gets driven out of its territory, it's a very bad thing. So it's interesting that we can see this with hummingbirds, but not with certain kinds of people. Well, in particular, one kind of person, which would be a white person. The preservation of the hummingbird community is more important than the preservation of the white race. In fact, you can't even talk about the preservation of the white. Even saying that word, that phrase, is tantamount to being in the Klan.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity, I'm just wondering. Just wondering. Yeah. In case any of you are wondering, why is Matt Walsh saying you can't say that? Well, because what he just said is essentially the 14 words. He just said essentially the 14 words. And if you don't know what the 14 words are, well, 14 is a very common number in white supremacy and neo-Nazi subcultures, okay? And the reason it's very popular is because 14 refers to the 14 words. And the 14 words are: we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. What Matt Walsh is saying here is just regurgitating the most well-known and popular white supremacist phrasing. He broke it down into a bunch of jibber-jabber specifically because he's trying to waffle and get to saying the 14 words without, looking like he's saying the 14 words. He doesn't want to just say, we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. He just wants to say,
Phrase is preservation of the white race. In fact, certain kinds of people, well, in particular, one kind of person, which would be a white person. The preservation of the hummingbird community is more important than the preservation of the white race. In fact, you can't even talk about the preservation of the white. Even saying that word, that phrase, is tantamount to being in the Klan.
Also, when he's talking about this, by the way, he's talking about white people being eliminated by the influx of non-white people into America. And I just have to point out that the ADL actually has a page on the 14 words. And just going to read this part here. The slogan was coined by David Lane, a member of the white supremacist terrorist group known as The Order. Lane died in prison in 2007. The term reflects the primary white supremacist worldview in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, that unless immediate action is taken, the white race is doomed to extinction by an alleged rising tide of color purportedly controlled and manipulated by Jews. Because of its widespread popularity, white supremacists reference this slogan constantly, in its full form, as well as the abbreviated versions such as 14 words, or simply the number 14. And I just need to point out that is exactly how Matt Walsh is talking about this subject. He is talking about white people being eliminated by a rising tide of color. He's talking about the extinction of white people. That's why he's comparing it to the extinction of hummingbirds. He's literally dropping the 14 words without saying it explicitly, but he is saying it nonetheless. Yeah, he's essentially, we must secure the existence of our hummingbirds and a future for hummingbird children. Exactly, Paladin. Exactly. Exactly. And by the way, I'm sure Matt Walsh fans will watch this video and say some pretty nasty things about me. But I just gotta say, to you guys in particular, you're probably just gonna say the ADL is like a Jewish organization and is in league with the forces that are sending black and brown people into America deliberately to outbreed the white race. But if some of you aren't complete crackheads and completely far gone, the fact that this guy is regurgitating one of the most popular white supremacist talking points should set off alarm bells for you. It should wake you up. if somebody is even inadvertently, even if you grant that this is completely on accident, he didn't think it through, whatever, it should wake you up to the fact that you're listening to a guy who could accidentally make the same point most white supremacists parrot with glee. Okay? That should be a little bit of a wake-up call to you. And I hope it is, because honestly, no one should be stuck in that kind of mentality.
These are the standards that we are all supposed to live by, but it's like we all know. It's just this game, and we all know that it's bogus and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good job, bud. Anyway, Matt Walsh having a very normal one, very much in favor of letting pedophiles get away with raping children, and also very much in favor of spouting white supremacist talking points. Absolutely abhorrent. And this is why, with every fiber of my being, until the day I die, I'm going to fight against conservative talking points. Because it is a pipeline straight to that shit. It's designed to co-opt the anger and hatred of the worst people in our country. And you know what? They listen to him, you know? You have mainstream conservatives who, you know, I would say aren't necessarily on board with spouting off white supremacist talking points, you know, praising him for his other work, you know, like, oh, well, you know, he did a good job with What is a Woman. Well, consider the fact that, like, again, this white supremacist who's all about trying to protect children when it comes to trans issues is making arguments about how actually, you know, if a kid doesn't come out with their sexual abuse to the police within 5 years of reaching adulthood, we'll just let their rapist get away. What? That's fucking crazy.